Welcome home, Bitcoin truth seekers. It is Monday, February 6th. It's 1:42 p.m. here in the Arizona desert. A little bit later in the day, daily view, but it's been an interesting kind of day in the markets, and there really hasn't been a lot to report on until just about now. Let's take a look at what's going on. Okay, so as always, BitcoinDailyView.com got more for you there, indicators that I mentioned, etc., and such like that. Get yourself some Patriot Pantry, good stuff. Get some survival food. I would just suggest it. Unsolicited advice, but it may serve you well. And while you're there, buy me a coffee if you so desire. Hey, enough of all that marketing. um, Looking at the crypto universe in squares today, it's slightly green. That's somewhat new, but we're seeing BTC in the green, ETH in the green, like seeing ApeCoin, like seeing Crow in the green, BNB in the green, XRP, Doge, LTC. These are nice things to see. ZEC and FXS, GRT are in deep green, SNX. So is RNDR, RPL, and IOTX is in the deep green. So Ocean's in the deep green also. Starting to see some deeper green, starting to see more of a green overall shade to the crypto universe in squares. Also looking at ADA up 1.11%. I like seeing that. So we won't belabor this thing, but it's nice. We're starting to see, I think, in general, kind of uptick in the market. There have been some alts that have run a bit, but in general, Bitcoin's been sideways, and the alt market has kind of been doing the same, except for a few that have been moving up. But it has not really been a spectacular day in the market. Looking at Bitcoin trading volume, in the last hour or so, it's up about a billion, coming in at let me refresh that. Actually, okay, it was anyway. It's at 8.7 billion. That's about where it was. I think we recently saw a bit of a spike in that volume. Anyway, up 0.69% last 24 hours. So Bitcoin trading volume, not bad for a Monday. So 8.7 billion. I'd like to see about 10 or 11, but that's fine. Good enough volume. Looking at FinViz here, in general, looking at the big market, the Dow, Nasdaq, and S&P 500, all slightly in the red. Not really making anything happen today. Not dumping, not pumping, just basically slightly in the red. Looking at FinViz here, looking at the S&P 500 because that's very, very related to Bitcoin. They pretty much are like a couple that finishes each other's sentences. You want all the type. They're annoying, Tesla in the green today, and that's about it. Beverage section kind of in the green today, but in general, just not a very happening day for the S&P 500 or the other big indexes here in America. Looking at the dollar strength index, here's the big deal. Dollar strength index has been on a downwards channel for a good number of days. This is a daily chart. DXY is right here in the top middle. Anyway, cruising down. Kind of visit the bottom of its channel. It's making a move up. On the daily, it's gotten above the 314 moving average, and it's at the top of its channel. So let's see what happens. That is definitely kind of pushing the market down today. But in my opinion, with this kind of bullish DXY, um, uh, I've heard reasons like global bond market, etc., like why this is happening. But anyway, wherever it's happening, that's a pretty bullish DXY. And for it to have cranked so much today and there been anything left of the market at all, I'm kind of surprised. So I think there's a bit of optimism out there in the market. Let's see what happens. If even though it's broken above, if DXY gets rejected by the 314 on top of this channel and takes a hit, like on Tuesday, let's see what happens. But right now, DXY on fire. It's insane. So DXY pumping, which of course dumps the market. Looking over here at top left-hand corner, this is U.S. oil spot. Green candle today, just barely. Looking at the S&P 500, as you can see, definitely making a dump here. And the funny thing is, as the dollar strength index breaks above the 314 moving average, looks like S&P 500 definitely is finding rejection there at the 314 moving average, and it's dumping. And of course, Bitcoin and the S&P 500 are very much in common. They are quite the little mirrors of each other in many, many ways. And of course, Bitcoin is getting rejected by the 314 moving average also. On the daily chart, this 314 rejection is probably a little poopy, depending on what you're looking for the market to do. but it would not surprise me if we reject and go right back down to the 200. And then we'll look at, is there going to be a bounce or not? And if there is, I would more predict that there is than not, but let's just see what happens. Depends on what's going on in the world, etc. But the 200 moving average on the daily charts right at 19,721 right now. So really a 20,000 bounce would not surprise me. If we get a harsh rejection off the daily 314 moving average, that certainly could be the case. So just make aware, just be wary on your trades, because the S&P 500 definitely getting a rejection off the 314 moving average. Dollar strength the next day, definitely breaking above it. And of course, Bitcoin definitely getting a break, a rejection off the 314 moving average as of yet. So we'll see what happens. Maybe this will turn around. If the DXY starts dumping, maybe the S&P 500 and Bitcoin will turn up. We shall see what happens. We'll look at things on slightly shorter time frames shortly. Go back to here. Anyway, gold, gosh, two big candles. That would have been like Friday. Okay, so Thursday and Friday for gold, nasty dump. Today, even with a pumping DXY, we have a bit of a green stubby little candle there trying to fight back above all the important moving averages. So gold is taking a hit, but not totally giving it all back. You can see since the last couple of days. That would have been Friday, Thursday and Friday, big pumps for DXY, including today. Now, of course, that dumped gold, but gold's fighting back. Definitely dumped silver. Silver doesn't quite have a fight in it yet. We'll see if we get a 314 moving average bounce on the daily. Let's just see what happens. This is a lot of pump for the DXY. We got to see if that continues. If it continues, then, well, we'll just regroup. If it dumps, well, then Bitcoin and S&P will probably go back into their recent kind of Lambo modes that they've been in. Looking at kind of a lot of shorts, a lot of longs getting wrecked today. Been kind of watching, and it just looked like people really want a long, they want a short, they want a long, they want a short. And on the short time frames here, like the 15-minute, really a lot of, I would call them like retail traders are just getting wrecked. I have not seen a lot of what I consider, and this is a very intuitive chart here. I mean, I'm kind of, connecting a few dots and all, but I think that from what I'm used to looking at this chart here, it does tend to show me not the greatest volume, not a lot of institutional algo trading right now. I think that we're kind of waiting to see what happens. I'm seeing what looks to me like a lot of retail longs and shorts getting wrecked, as in like the non-professional longs and shorts getting wrecked. So anyway, a lot of volatility. A lot of longs and shorts getting wrecked. People trying too hard. In general, this over here, the rate we've seen of big trades moving. I think the institutional money is probably just chilling and letting the smaller fries, the small time retail traders just get wrecked trying to guess the market. Looking at spot trading volume on the big exchanges, mix of green and red was all red earlier. For the most part, we're starting to see most of the exchanges, like the top 20 here, are starting to turn green. I don't know why. Bitstamp is 151% all of a sudden pumping like that. Kraken's 54%. Coinbase 13% up. Binance, kind of real barometer for me. It's only 0.87 really, so that's the last 24 hours. So we're seeing like not much volume was happening over the weekend, and it's starting to pick up later in the day today. Let's see what happens. Looking at derivative trading on Binance, 34 billion. Want to have at least 50 billion for the market to even be awake. And so that probably does mean that like what I'm seeing with a lot of wrecked shorts and longs, that's probably retailers getting wrecked short and long more so than institutional algo trading. Up 1.4% for derivatives last 24 hours. That really ain't much. Okay. Looking at Bitcoin in the top 100, Bitcoin coming in at 29,998. Trying to hold that 23,000. Thing is, today we definitely have some alts that are just on fire. Bitcoin's kind of sideways, but Lido DAO, whatever it is, LDO, is up 14%. Frax share FXS is up like 25%. Rocket Pool RPL is kind of cool. I'm not sure what it is, but it's up like 8.3%. Curve DAO is up 5.2%. Baby Dogecoin up 11%. Render RND are up 12%. So definitely we do have an Engine Coin, a legit project, ENJ, up 6%. And so I'm starting to see Zill up like 4%. So I'm starting to see more and more of the top 100 alts start to make moves. Some have made kind of pretty strong moves all day, but I'm starting to see kind of like the mass in general starting to see a little bit of a momentum in the market, which is kind of why I'm doing the video now. I think we're starting to see a little bit of push in the alts. All right, looking at longs versus shorts, 59% long, 40% short for Bitcoin. So definitely a long bias on Binance for Bitcoin. For Ethereum, 53% long, 46% short. Not a super strong long bias, but in general, a long bias for Ethereum, but rather strong long bias for Bitcoin. Looking at what we got going on here, this is Bitcoin versus USDT 45-minute chart on Binance. As you can see, this is a very short time frame I know that we're looking at here, but Bitcoin's just been kind of, I would say, ranging all weekend, and that can be kind of a hard thing to deal with. But yeah, if we look here, I would say Bitcoin's just been ranging for a while, really, and that would have been since about like Friday. So Friday, or ever since kind of the and afternoon of last Friday, Bitcoin has just been ranging over the weekend with some definite volatility going on. Somebody who was kind of hacking hard probably could have gotten some ins and outs here, some scalps, made some money. But in general, Bitcoin kind of sideways. I do see here by this trend, this line that I put, this trend line, I think in general we have a bit of a positive bias going on. Just as far as lower highs are adding up. And if you do look, we also have higher lows are adding up, but also lower highs. I mean higher highs. So you have a high, higher high, kind of a higher high, kind of blew it recently. But let's see what happens. And of course, we have lower, lower high, lower high, lower high. Yeah, it's been a little bit too volatile for it truly to be perfect. But you can see this upwards trend in general, which today we kind of did, dump out of. But I see a bit of an upwards momentum starting. Let's see what happens. Looking at the 45-minute squeeze indicator, we are turning towards the positive. Directional index is now in the green. ADX is in the right spot, probably going to turn up. Seeing a little bit of a burst of volume pushing it up. Let's just kind of see what happens. Bitcoin really needs on the 45-minute chart to get above this 200 moving average, which is coming in right around, right at 200 moving average. You are right around like 23,300, 23,350 or so. Definitely, we need to break above that, find support, and start moving. I think if we get a little bit, if these upwards energons continue, which would make sense, we definitely could see a move, something like this, or maybe like that. So let's just kind of see what happens. We shall play it by ear and see. Let's look at a 4-hour chart. The 4 hour is rather spectacular. Definitely. Oh, darn, sorry about that. Boom. 4-hour chart. This is like a lot. Let's have a lot of alts look and such right now. I mean, you've just got, sideways. This guy's been ranging sideways since Friday, January, Friday the 20th. Friday the 20th of January. So this thing's just been, it's been in this range. And you can see what it's just been doing. It's been just kind of ranging. But like I say, I think if you do a trend line, you can kind of see a bit of a positive, some positive energy. I think it is kind of a slight upwards trend there. And people can, there's all kinds of shape people would draw for that. I'll rock through this really quick. But if I was to do where is that thing? The pattern tool. I don't want to belabor it. It would just take too long. Where's my, triangle. It's kind of like, oh crap. Oh, never mind, guys. Sorry. It's been a long day. Anyway, do with that shape what you want. I just kind of see it as ultimately ranging sideways. Like I say, I think if I was to throw a trend line in there, I think you could kind of see some upwards energy to it. Just looking at lower highs and higher highs, I think we could kind of make a case for that. So slight upwards momentum. Definitely squeeze indicators on the way down. It's in the red on the 4-hour chart, but the directional index is trending up. It's still in the red, but it has an upwards trend. Let's see. It might be time for that squeeze indicator to turn around in the 4 hours. We could possibly see that. Not seeing any real volume right now. I think a little bit of a volume spike. If we could get that, would definitely start pushing us out of this range. So we'll see what happens. This has kind of been the story for a little while. I mean, then you can look here, and you can see another time it was ranging right here, and that was kind of between like the Friday the 13th, January 2023, to about like Friday the 20th, 2023. Now we're bumped up, so kind of now we've been ranging once again since like Friday the 20th, 2023 to today. We're just kind of ranging sideways. So let's see what happens. Is it time for looking at the directional index and the squeeze indicator? Are we looking at maybe, I still kind of have a feeling, and just, for what it's worth, I've looked at this many times, but, I'm kind of ready for whatever happens. But I do think there's a case to be made. I just think there's a case to be made that if you look here at that, boom. And then if you look here at that, the step here that it made, boom. Then you basically just take these, move them up here from where we're at. It kind of shows you a real possibility of if we continue these little stair steps up. So if I was to look at that and do a trend line, the forecast, and boom, go about average those to it's about 8% in 12 hours. You could definitely see, and that once again would put us above the daily 314 moving average. And I think that would be a pretty groovy moment. If we find support above that, then we're set. So really, that powerful dollar strength index is kicking the S&P 500's ass, kicking gold and silver's ass, kicking Bitcoin's ass, kind of, but Bitcoin's holding in there pretty good. So let's see what happens. Looking at the daily chart, you can say we got to get above that 314 moving average. If we get rejected, we may go down to the psychological level of the 200 moving average and make a bounce there, or not. We'll see what happens. Anyway, y'all, that's about it. Do I still have my chart that shows the? Yes, but I do. There we go. And this is a big deal here too. Looking at the kind of a cleaner, easier to see chart. Of course, Bitcoin's above the 200 moving average, but it's all about, is it going to pump, make another step up and get above that 314 on the daily, or get rejected like the S&P 500. Do look at the daily MACD though. Daily MACD has turned negative and is trending down. The histogram's going in the wrong direction. So I would say that there's a good deal of pressure for that rejection to probably happen. We shall see what happens. Really, we're kind of in no man's land. That's why I kind of think like the longs and the shorts that I was seeing kind of getting wrecked look more by the numbers to me like retailers than the big money. I think the big money is the institutions are kind of just chilling. That's why I think anyway, that's my take on it. They're just waiting to see what happens. They're not aggressively trading, in my opinion, from what I'm seeing. All right, looking at some else. This is Shiba Inu versus USDT, 45-minute chart once again. We'll look at an hourly chart, just since most people look at. Doing very much what Bitcoin has been doing. It's had a great run recently. If you look at from the 200 moving average cross, if you were to go, like if you were to have hopped in this thing, like, way back here, or you could say here, maybe you wait till about here, and you were just riding this thing out. It's like 20% in 5 days. Not bad at all. The thing which is interesting me about Shiba Inu right now is a lot of good news about it. So it's above the 200 and the 314 there on the hourly chart. About the 4-hour chart, yep, it's above it there too. And what's really super important to me is the daily. And yep, it's above the 200 and the 314 on the daily chart. Daily chart seeing some energons come in. Directional index is looking good. Squeeze indicators looking good. It's a nice looking chart there. I wish we could see Bitcoin do that. Wouldn't that be sort of a sweet deal, So anyway, but looking at it here on the 45-minute chart, I'm sorry, it's 30-minute. Like on the 45-minute chart, right now, Something I like that I'm seeing is, yeah, it's doing the sideways ranging action, kind of like Bitcoin's been doing. We're in a squeeze right now. So that's what those little golf balls there mean. Directional index is in the green. ADX is kind of low. Not, we're not seeing, we're kind of seeing overall just volume has kind of been just pooping. It's been slowly trending down. Let's see what happens. I'm kind of interested in SHIB versus USDT. This is on KuCoin. Let's see what happens. Looking at the hourly chart, you can see that the squeeze indicator is beginning to go in a positive direction. Directional X is at least green. That ADX turned out to get to be around 20. Right now it's around like 6, or 8, I think, not very high. And volume is slowly going down. But let's just see what happens. This guy's been pumping. It's in the right spot. Kind of hard to play right now, but there you go. All right. Another one that I like is Ruin versus USDT. Anyway, like SHIB, I'm not even really suggesting it. I'm just saying I'm keeping an eye on it because it's been moving and I could see it continue moving. We'll see what happens. Ruin versus USDT, 45-minute chart. Let me go to like a 4-hour chart, make it a little easier to see. I know my little channel there is not exactly perfect, I know, but I think definitely this guy has been up and down the bottom of this channel very aggressively. It had a tighter one earlier, back from around like beginning of January to like the 11th of January. Then it pumped up, made the top of that channel its new support, and it's just been ranging like crazy. And if you look at it, it gets pretty predictable. I mean, let's just do like this, right? Okay, then we'll take that and let's move it over here. Boom. What do you think's about to happen? You know what I mean? Probably, you can see this guy has been, overall making higher lows and overall, making lower highs and overall also making higher highs. So you got this beautiful channel rolling. It kind of broke below the channel, which it lends to do, we might notice here. Now it's getting back into that channel. Indicators are kind of still showing a bit of downside. So let's see what happens. I need the squeeze indicator to start going the right direction for us. Directional next to get green, ADX to pick up to at least 20 and see some volume spurts. As you can see here, you see this nice beautiful upwards movement. And of course that corresponded with some heavy volume that came in. So with that said, I'm just watching it. This is Ruin, Thorchain. Let's see what happens. This guy could be a player. I'm watching him. Pond versus USDT. I like what I'm seeing here. It came down, beautiful bounce off the 200 moving average recently, kind of going sideways. Squeeze indicators looking good. Directional index is in the green. ADX is too low. In general, give this one time. Not quite ready to get into it, but it definitely could easily visit the top of this channel again. We're kind of in a market where a lot of alts are sitting like right here, so we kind of have to see what happens. Another one that's been nuts recently is Ocean versus USDT. Look at that one on Binance. Insane, beautiful. And this one's looking pretty darn good. This is a 45-minute chart, of course. The squeeze indicator is going in the right direction. Directional X is in the green. ADX is in the right spot. A little bit of volume coming in. You can see this volume back here is what kicked off that recent, it was dumping, then it got to move back up. Somebody wanted to keep it there and pushed it back up. So this is very, very interesting. What kind of a channel can you do on this one here? I will. I'll be a little bit daring and just do something like this. I like it. We're kind of we're not near the top of the ATR cave, but we are kind of getting to the top of this channel. We've kind of wicked to it. Let's see what happens. I'm not quite ready to get in this one, but this definitely, because if these indicators were looking like this and it was at the bottom of the channel, I'd be all about it. So I'm watching this one for kind of maybe quick bounce up here and then come back down. So I'm waiting to get on this one, basically on something that looks more like that. But this is definitely a strong looking chart. I like what I'm seeing. Other than that, we could look at I'll kind of hide some of these things from you a little bit. Sorry to be that way, but if you are a Bitcoin trader, this is the active list that Blockchain Education crew that I'm a part of are working out of. These are all coins, which I'm kind of hiding them a little bit, just because it is like the group is where these come from. So I'm kind of not just giving all of our secrets away. But anyway, FXS versus BTC, insane explosion. So definitely against Bitcoin, we definitely had some explosions today just recently. Look at that. 45-minute chart. Audio versus BTC. SSV versus BTC. This is a nice bounce here. This one's kind of getting going. Some strong volume came in. I would say that definitely if this guy here can break above that previous high, definitely we're in business. Looks like it probably will. Like what I'm seeing. It's a tough day. It's a tough day. These trades you sort of see happen like this, these explosions, and really what you kind of got to do is just keep an eye on these. This is massive volume that came in. That kind of volume, it very well may keep its gains, but I'm kind of going to do like a fib and just run it like right here and just kind of watch this thing. Maybe it did a 236 bounce and that's it. It kind of wicked it down. It kind of wicked down to the 882 moving average, but it's way far high from the 8 moving average, which is right there, the red one. Would not surprise me if it actually does a .5 bounce and keeps and then continues moving up. Let's see what happens. A lot of alts, kind of hard to play right now, alts versus BTC, but we definitely have some rocket ship to Pluto's definitely running. So is that Ocean? Yeah, Ocean versus BTC. Beautiful chart, moving up just like it is against USDT. Ocean definitely. That's a serious ocean liner. That thing is badass. It's definitely making some strong moves, like what I'm seeing. But at the top of the channel here, it's beginning to peter out. So, but these indicators look really, really strong. Big volume came in and pushed this thing. Myself, I'm going to wait for a retrace before I get in on that. So anyway, there's stuff going on. It's a hard day to kind of, you kind of got to be in something that you think is going to run and then see if you can catch it. But right now, I'm just not feeling a lot of confidence to get in anything. Kind of interested in SHIB. I think this might not be over pumped out. Kind of got a feeling SHIB might run a little bit. But right now, Bitcoin, it's in a hard spot. This is a tough trading moment because, Bitcoin, negative MACD. It's got to break above that 314 or get rejected. Right now, the S&P 500 is getting rejected, and the DXY is just pumping its ass off today. So, most likely, it's going to be tough. It's going to be tough for Bitcoin to hold that 314 and not get rejected. The S&P already has it kind of broke above, but it's getting rejected pretty hard today. So let's see what happens. Sorry if I'm not super hyper energetic. It's just not. There's money to be made. You just got to look at alts, find alts that you think have a good setup that haven't already pumped their brains out, and hop in there. If you want to get access to a list like this, the purple list, well, join Blockchain Education. Link over at bitcoindailyview.com. We have an active list. We go through it twice a week. Make sure these are their alts. Right now, we're just doing alts versus BTC, but if it's performing well against BTC, it's going to be performing almost as well against USDT quite often. So you can just trade that way if you'd like. But twice a week we go through, we make sure we have a powerful list, and that's what we do. But I'm not going to share it all with you. That belongs to the group. Anyway, shocking aerial footage is now for some news. Shocking aerial footage, 3,000 dead so far in Turkey, Syria quake, thousands of buildings collapse. Anyway, there's no way you don't know about the 7.5 or 6 or 8s. Huge earthquakes. This is a disaster. It's beyond words. It's terrible. We all know what happened. It sucks. Let's see how it plays out in the next coming days. But really, we do know that Turkey at least 1,121 killed, Syria at least 783 killed, and let's face it, it's probably more than that. That's just the bodies they found. So let's watch for aftershocks around the world. We'll see what happens. If you are a follower of Dutch Sense, I won't find him right now, but he's quite the. If you want to kind of see how earthquakes move around the world, just search for Dutch Sense on YouTube. He's got a great YouTube channel, and he really shows, and he already has some predictions on how this will. He's been doing it for like years and years, and he has great accuracy. So this extreme activity will probably, as it naturally does, sort of like go through the fault lines of the Earth, and then it ain't done yet. We'll see more earthquakes around the world come from this. And like I say, I'll link to it next show, Dutch Sense. He's been covering it quite well. Anyway, this is interesting. I cannot confirm this. This is really weird, but it's the Midanki Lake Dam in Afrin, northern Syria, has cracked. If the international community does not intervene and send committees for the dam, maybe a tragedy. I don't know. This is really tough. It's getting some like play out there. People are seeing this. I don't know. Supposedly this is an old crack, I hear, but that was fixed. But supposedly it has new cracks. Anyway, really interesting. I can't confirm it, but it does seem like as if life isn't bad enough over there right now. A dam was damaged, so it ain't confirmed yet, but I am, looking for it. Navy diver recovers debris from shot down balloon. Why I think this is nonsense, and this is just me, okay? I was in the military, 89 to 94. I was a CB. I was in the reserves after that for a while. And anyway, here's the thing. Why I think this is just a weather balloon, why I think we knew it was, just my conjecture, but it's this. So the Navy went and got the debris, and there it is on the ship. Note these guys are not wearing CBR gear. And if they're just civilians, well, they wouldn't be near it if it could have been, CBR gear is chemical, biological, radiological gear. If we didn't know what that was, you wouldn't have civilians near it. And you also, if those are military, which they have dreadful military bearing if they are, and they're not in proper uniform. But one way or the other, if the military grabbed this thing and they didn't know what it was, they'd be wearing CBR, chemical, biological, radiological gear. They didn't know what it was. And they certainly wouldn't let, if that's not military, if that's civilians, which I hope because they look sloppy, they wouldn't be letting civilians near it. If they didn't know what it was. So I'm just saying this is why I think kind of proof positive they knew it was a weather balloon, and that's all it ever was. And it's always been known. There's international treaties for these balloons. Nothing happens by chance. It's guys like this, John Bolton, who insists on incinerating the earth. These monsters still have these neocon monsters, and it's neoliberal monsters too, but he particularly is a neocon monster. I think this was a farce. I think these cats would not be wandering around. I don't think they'd have it on a stupid little skiff like this. Forget it. It's not how it would roll if we didn't know that it was just a weather balloon and that we were basically engineering public opinion for a conflict with China, because the one on Russia's border in Ukraine ain't going to work out for the collective West. So let's change the focus. Let's call weather balloons weapons of mass destruction now, because they'll buy it, I mean, just the fact this old monster's still in office, John Bolton, gosh, whatever. What does he say now? What rhetoric? Oh, John Bolton says there's a serious problem, that there's still kindness in the world and that there's still living people. This is a problem. There's still people alive on my planet. I want them dead. Anyway, we listen to these a-holes and look where we're at. Anyway, with that said, remember, for every Bitcoin Satoshi you own, you actually punch a nasty old globalist in the Kenorkies. And that's a beautiful thing. So keep stacking those sats. It is the best way to get to world peace and a beautiful sci-fi future. And really, if you are stacking Bitcoin Satoshis, I do truly believe that you do believe in an optimistic future. You're part of the peaceful revolution. I'm glad you're here. Let's see how the market shakes out. There'll be some entries later that are probably good to get into. It's a tough trading day. Let's see how things roll. If you're trading, mind your stops. This is a very volatile market. I don't think the big money, like I said, I think the big money is going on the side a little bit, letting retail traders try to long and short and get wrecked. And they're just waiting to see a definite direction in this market before they get in and play. So that's my take on it. Trade safe, and ain't a good day to it's not a bad day to just do other things, and we'll see how the market looks tomorrow. Oh, do you think S&P will pump last? Oh, you know what? Tassine Tahar, that's an amazing thing. Do you think the S&P 500 will pump last 11 minutes to market close, then dump last 2 minutes? You know what? That's really interesting. Let's just real quick. Let's just look at FinBiz here before we check out. Wait, do we have it here? Wait, here. Let's look at S&P 500. Let's go to like a 15-minute chart. Interesting. So, you know, S&P 500 has been playing with that 200 moving average on the 15-minute chart. Are we going to see a bounce here? You know, a little bit of a move up right before the market closes. Good question. I don't know. Market close. You know what? Okay. Yeah, it's been so long. Market is closed, and we did see a little perky up for the Dow, S&P, Nasdaq, and S&P 500. All gave a little push that last hour of the market or so. So, well, let's see. Maybe that will equal some optimism for Tuesday's open. And if we look, gosh, market in general fairly not that great. S&P 500, but Tesla did hold in at 2.52% profit to close the day. And aerospace and defense definitely was up today because, well, you know, along with restaurants, because, you know, restaurants are where the aerospace and defense industry meets to make to have meetings with with John Bolton, allegedly. Anyway, take care. Once again, every Bitcoin Satoshi you own, boom, a nasty old globalist right in the nuts. Take care.